Welcome back, this is CerealSnax. Today I'm looking at a game called Alice, The Madness Returns. And this is a sequel to an American Mcgee game that came out years ago called Alice, American Mcgee's Alice. And what it is it's a third-person kind of platformer, 3D platformer, obviously, kind of like Super Mario Galaxy or something like that, or I kind of liken it to Psychonauts to some extent. Because you get this platformy stuff, and you're also fighting quite a bit and doing different things. The first game was more of a kind of reminded me of like a third-person shooter, kind of like a Doom type game. And this game feels more like a almost like Kingdoms of Amalur kind of play style, like the camera and the third person and the weapons and all that you can upgrade. Now, of course, it's not like an RPG like Kingdoms of Amalur, but it does have that kind of feel to it, I guess, when you're playing it with a controller. I'm using an Xbox 360 controller with the PC, but you wouldn't have to do that. I think the storyline's pretty good, and it's gonna the Cheshire Cat's gonna talk here in a second, so I won't talk over him.
The vorpal blade is swift and keen and always ready for service.
I've not come back here looking for a fight.
Really? That's a pity. One's certainly looking for you.
So I like the way that they do the story with the weapons. Of course, the vorpal blade, which goes snicker snack and leaves them dead. You can see it had a picture of the Jabberwocky that you slay with the vorpal sword. And the vorpal sword in American Mcgee's Alice almost looks like a little like a butcher knife kind of thing. It's got blood on it, but it's a very awesome weapon, and I just love destroying like these snails, the shells to collect the teeth. And I haven't really talked about the game, kind of what the mechanics of the game are, but you collect teeth, and those teeth allow you to then upgrade your weapons. So you could upgrade the vorpal blade or the other weapons that you get in the game, and I'll show you one of the other weapons that you get in the game. But really, I want to show you some of the combat here. I like the little boss battles. Of course, this is really not a boss battle, but every time you encounter a new enemy, they name it and they kind of show it in like a little cutscene like that. And it's cool. Like, the combat is very much like Kingdoms of Amalur. You can target your enemy like this, and then you kind of just go in for the kill with multiple, attacks and moves. And they've done a great job. I mean, it's a very dark kind of Alice in Wonderland game, and I think that they have captured that very well. American Mcgee's Alice, the first game, actually received quite a bit of critical acclaim at the time, and I'm loving it. And I think the sequel, kind of didn't get as noticed as the first game did, and kind of, I think, went under a lot of people's radar. Steam has had it on sale numerous times, so if this looks interesting to you, I would definitely pick it up. It's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it so far, and I've made it quite far. Actually in the game, and I feel like I can safely review it. Now, there's things you can pick up too. These are memories, and I'm not going to have the sound up for this guy talking, but memories are really just kind of talking about her like tortured background that she has in real life. Of course, you see the little teeth that pop up, and there's the platformer type stuff. This is a mushroom that lets you bounce and lets you jump up high. There's a couple of cool jumping things in this game. You can see she does like a double jump, which blows out these colorful feathers or leaves, whatever they are. And then she's also got a mechanic where she can float from ledge to ledge. So it's a fun little platform. You can see they're telling me how to do it here in this particular part. Now, the Alice mythos, the cat is still kind of your friend, helping you as you go, kind of more or less chastising your choices and all that as you go. So the story itself is really good. It's obviously rooted in the original Alice in Wonderland book, but it's taken a much darker turn. Although the original book's fairly dark as well, it's kind of a strange, almost feels like a drug-induced kind of bad trip, the book. So, and this captures that quite well. This is her return to Alice in Wonderland. So if you didn't play the first game, I don't think you're going to miss a whole lot. The first game followed kind of the book in many ways, and even if you have seen the newer Disney movie, it kind of follows that as well, because at the end of the first game, she does kill the Jabberwocky, and she fights all the same creatures, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Coming up here in a second here is the Duchess, who is in the first game. And actually, I believe you fight the Duchess in the first game, but in this one, she's more of an NPC.
Why would I do that? You want to eat me?
Yes, well, you taught me manners, and I've lost my taste for mad women. Strictly a porcine diet for me. Everything's better with bacon, don't you agree? Of course you do. Now, there are pig snouts scattered about. I heard a few behind the house. Go fetch them for me. But take care for the pests that block your way. Pepper them up if they do. They need spice, and you're just the girl to season them for me. You'll find that grinder serviceable.
Why not season your own pig parts?
Matter of priorities. My alabaster skin needs protection from the disgusting creatures running amok amidst the environs. But one gets peckish. Look, all you have to do is listen for the oink, then shoot the snout. You may like the results. I certainly will.
So this is kind of the introduction to your next weapon, which is the pepper grinder, and you know, aptly so, right? The weapons in this game are very odd. This is the pepper grinder. Spice up your foes. Prepare savory snouts from the Duchess. So this particular weapon is almost like a machine gun. You can see I'm just doing my dodge. Now, one thing I will say about this game that I had a lot of trouble with, and it may just be me because I'm not as familiar with the Xbox 360 controller, although I had almost as much trouble with the keyboard and mouse, is that the camera seems kind of crazy in this game, and it obviously in Kingdoms of Amalur I had the same issue with the camera where I felt like it was always swiveling around me and I couldn't really get a good idea of where I was. As I played this game, I got better at it, so I got more and more used to that, having to move the camera with a little hat stick that the Xbox 360 controller has. But some of you who are not as familiar with Xbox 360 controllers may have some difficulty controlling. You can see here I'm not able to aim as well because I just can't seem to get the aiming down always on this machine gun thing. And it does have an auto aim, but it seems a little bit squirrely and it doesn't always lock in the way you want it to. That said, I really love the weapons in this game. They really feel like they've got a lot of weight to them. And I've talked about that before in past reviews, that there's some games where you have weapons and they just don't feel like they connect, I guess, with the creatures. And I think one analogy I can make is that back in the day when I used to go to the arcade and play Super Street Fighter 2, I remember that Super Street Fighter 2, the punching and the kicking always felt like it had a really good weight to it. And I remember playing Mortal Kombat, and Mortal Kombat just didn't feel like it had that same weight. Like, you just didn't feel like your punches were connecting in reality. And I don't know if it's the sound or what they do to make it feel like that. Probably some of you out there who just love Mortal Kombat and hate Street Fighter are probably saying I'm, saying heresy. But I think you'll agree that there is definitely a difference in the weight of the attacks in those games. And I liken it to this too. This game feels like it's using the Unreal Engine, and the Unreal Engine does give that real good feeling of weight, which obviously makes you feel immersed in the game. So I will say that their use of the Unreal Engine was a good decision, and I really can't wait till the new Unreal Engine comes out and see what they can do. Because if this game is a few years old and it looks this good and performs this well, the gameplay, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do with the next iteration of Unreal. And right now, see, I switched out of my machine gun because I was getting annoyed with the silly little bee things. I'm just going to go at them with the Vorpal Blade because it just feels like I can just, I'm just immortal with that Vorpal Blade. I don't know if you noticed the little details in this game. That's kind of what makes this game neat to me, is that there's little details like her apron, which is spattered in blood, and the knife, which is coated in blood, and of course the blood that spurts everywhere when you attack everything. And you'll see that a little later on when I'm fighting some of the little goblin-type creatures. Here I'm fighting a snout, and the snouts are important. You have to shoot these snouts that have wings. You can see the huge dice in the background. I was talking about detail again. I mean, the graphics in this game are just gorgeous. It really looks nice, and that's another thing that I like about it, is that it has such a nice style to it, and that keeps me playing games like this. And I've edited a little bit, and I've skipped on ahead. I'm kind of showing you when you kill the snout, you actually can get these dominoes to fall down, and then of course you do the typical jumping puzzle type deal where you have to jump across them and through them and over them. And it's not like you're always in this nice pretty forest. As you'll soon see, things start to get worse. So it's almost as if Wonderland is tearing itself apart. Things have changed for the worse. You can see some of the statues in the game are like bleeding this oil, so there's some kind of mechanical presence that's taken over the game. The slithering ruin here. Of course, I'm still collecting my teeth. So it's neat that they, you know, in the original Alice, the world wasn't destroyed. It was just kind of twisted from what we're used to seeing in Alice. And in this particular case, there's something going terribly wrong. It's not just the Jabberwocky. There's something that's corrupting all of Wonderland. So the story's kind of, they've done, I like how American Mcgee writes the Alice story, because it really does make it feel a little darker and a little bit more raw. Of course, you know, he makes his Alice character have dark brown hair, which is quite a departure from the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Alice. You can see her little bow on the back of her dress. It has a skull in it. So here's where Wonderland starts to kind of fall apart. And I'm just going to show you a few more clips of what's, you know, just somewhat into the game. I don't want to spoil the whole game for you, but I want to show you just kind of the different environments that you'll encounter as you go through the game. You can see this is like where the oil is, you know, spilling up out into the landscape, and you're just traversing it through a jumping puzzle type area. Just to show you, I just really want to give you an idea of what the game is like. I think that it's worth picking up. I believe that I picked it up for around $5 perhaps, and you know, you could probably get it for that much. It's probably going to be on sale. Like I said, Steam seems like it has daily sales, so if you just keep your eyes open for the games that interest you that I've gone over, then, you know, pick them up, because for $5, that's like, you know, getting a Coke and a hamburger from McDonald's. Get yourself Alice, you know, and maybe go a little hungry for lunch, and you have a great game to play for as long as you want. So let's keep moving on here. So you can see that I'm kind of making it further and further into this domain. And I wanted to show you what the weapon upgrade system looks like. So let's just kill this last guy here, and I'll show you the upgrades. Get these bugs down. Okay, so you can gather pearly whites to prevent your premature arrival before the pearly gates. My friends can use the choppers, and you'll improve your weapon's capacity. So use his little bow. So you can upgrade the Vorpal Blade and the Pepper Grinder currently. Of course, when you get more weapons, obviously you can upgrade those as well. I only have enough to upgrade the Vorpal Blade, so I'll just show you. All it does is upgrade it to Vorpal Blade 2, which presumably does more damage. It doesn't say, but that's my guess. So that's what I'm going to go with. See these trains falling off the cliff side. Like I said, it's like, it almost reminds me of Never Ending Story, when everything's kind of falling away into nothing. So I'm going to keep going on. Now I'll show you here in a second the next area. I'm not going to spoil too much into the game, but I'll show you at least the Mad Hatter's level, and you can see her outfit changes throughout the game. So, and here's a neat thing that I want to show you too, is the combat. You actually have to time it. See how I got hit there? You have to time it and dodge when the guy's hitting you. So the combat is not just a straightforward, just mash buttons. You have to actually time it, and there's some strategy to it. Cut its head off there. It's pretty crazy. Destroy a bunch of boxes. It's just destruction. Rain down your destruction with Alice. So I hope you enjoyed my quick look at Alice Madness Returns. Just wanted to give you a view into what the game is like and kind of my review. I think it's worth picking up, so look for it on sale on Steam. Thanks for joining me.